Hello, my fellow flawless, limitless, sexy, sassy, saucy HBICs. How are you on this lovely morning, afternoon, or evening? How are you all? I hope you're all fabulous, choosing to be fabulous, choosing to be a version of yourself that is living the life of your dreams. I hope that's what you're doing. I hope that's the decision you are making today. I would like to quickly say, if you would like to work with me in any way, shape, or form, the way to connect, the way to hang out with me is in that drop box below, including my amazing channel memberships, my favorite, the VIP Advanced Manifestors. It's my favorite because it's the group that has the ability to access all of the channel memberships. So if you're interested in that, all that information, drop box below. Today we are going to be talking about the real, honest, raw truth about instant manifestation. We've all seen the titles. I believe there's a few of those titles on my own channel. We've all seen the videos saying manifest manifest overnight, manifest instantly, manifest in 24 hours, manifest 3 days or less, blah, blah, blah. And I'm sure if and when you've read those titles or listened to those videos, there's a part of you somewhere, especially if you feel you are not experiencing your manifestation, that we look at that and hear those things as a bunch of shit. It's a bunch of garbage. It's not true. It doesn't seem to happen. Blah, blah, blah. And I understand that because that's exactly who I was in my early days of my ever-evolvement of self. However, as I've evolved, the understanding or the expansion of my awareness has shown me that everything is instant. Everything. Manifestation is instant. Reality shifts instant. State shifts are instant. What your awareness is on is instant. And the only reason why you're not experiencing instant manifestation is because of your own limits, your own perceived conditions. I know that one kind of hurts. That one's a punch in the gut, isn't it? Because there really is nothing more frustrating than to be watching a video and given, that feeling like it's all your fault again. No one likes to feel that way. I would not have wanted to hear a message like that in my early days. And I understand that. And that is because of how I would have perceived that message. I would have perceived it from a victim state. And I would have said to myself, oh, here we go again. It's my fault why I don't have what I want, right? Maybe that's where one of you or two of you, three of you, four of you, maybe that's exactly where your mind went to. Maybe you're so frustrated with your current reality that has annoyed you enough to maybe you don't even want to finish the video. But don't click off yet. Don't click off yet, because I'm going to help you today. I'm going to help you to start seeing reality for what it is. Manifestation is instant. Think about how you in this moment are honestly or authentically taking the self-responsibility of answering the question, how do you perceive your reality? What is your perception of your current reality? How would you describe it to me if I asked you that question? How would you write down on a piece of paper? How would you describe your current experience? Would it be a negative story? Would you throw a bunch of responses like, I've been doing this journey for such and such amount of time and it's not here yet? I even saw a comment the other day that said, giving people hope is mean. It's mean. Do I have to point out what state that is? Do I have to? Think about how that person must be perceiving their reality. And my perception was that person was really hurting. Hence how I don't judge. I don't judge comments like that because I was that person at one time. I think we all can resonate with feeling really bummed out over reality. But if we are to take a moment of authenticity, of self-responsibility, we would probably gather that we're not viewing reality as to our benefit or working for us. And in one semblance of an idea here, if right now in this moment, your manifestation was to show up, are you really sure that you're prepared for it? That you're ready for it? I'm not trying to cast some doubt over you. I'm saying, let's take an authentic look. You see, because you can't, in one sentence, claim that you are totally identifying as your new self. If you're new to my channel, first of all, how you doing? I'm Kimberly. And if you love manifestation or are obsessed about getting what you want, just like I am, I would love for you to subscribe and come back and see me. But if you're new to my channel, hearing me say, be your new self, identify with new self, that simply means the self, the you that has your desire, the you that's in the desired reality. You got your manifestation. That's new self. So you can't, in one respect, say, no, I'm identifying as new self. I am returning to new self. I'm doing all the techniques. I'm doing all the things that everybody in videos says to do. I am that self. But my reality has not changed. My reality is the same. You can't be in the reality of having it if you're perceiving reality as it's not here. When you're totally, truly immersed and identified with the self that has the desire, it becomes your instant response, your instant perception that what you're experiencing is manifestation, is the unfolding, whatever word feels good to you. Because it is. What you're experiencing out here must, if you're sincerely identified as the self you're choosing to be, really truly believing you are who you claim you are, can't perceive reality that way. That's impossible. That's not the filter that's running across your eyeballs when you're really in the new identity. Just like from the identity you are in right now. It's why you believe so wholeheartedly that it's not here, that you don't have it, that this hasn't worked. That's who you are truly immersed in being. Now, for anybody out there who's thinking, oh my God, well, I don't actually physically see my manifestation. Does that mean I'm not my new self? And you're the person that hasn't been questioning, where is it? You are not the person I'm talking to. You are just fine. Let me explain. When I was manifesting my own loving, fulfilling, committed relationship with my specific person, I had definite moments of not being with my person. That certainly happened along my journey. But the last round of me manifesting my relationship, which is a couple years ago, right before it fully physically materialized, I was my new self. I would have said, well, yeah, physically, he's not sitting next to me on the couch. But I was fully in the knowing that, oh, but I'm her. I am that self. I know I'm in the reality that I will be physically experiencing it. I know it. Without a shadow of a doubt, I knew it. Not right away, but as I daily chose who I wanted to be, yeah, that overwhelming knowing, that confirmation within myself, it came. And no one could have convinced me otherwise. I knew it was going to happen. without necessarily 3D physical evidence, because I knew that everything I was experiencing was absolutely the unfolding of it. I knew it. So if you are that person too, I'm not talking to you. You are already perceiving reality as unfolding to it. You are in agreement that you are in that, well, if for lack of a better phrase, the right reality. You're already there. So no need to panic. I'm talking to anyone who is adamantly so for sure, so definitely arguing for your limitations that you don't see it and you don't see change and you don't feel like it's working. Don't judge yourself. This isn't about picking on you. This is, hey, it's okay. It's a good thing it hasn't physically shown up for you at this moment, because there's a belief somewhere. We're believing something about your current self that ain't favorable, because manifestation is immediate, instant. State shifts are instant, but they are instant in both directions. So some of you, if you're perceiving reality as unfavorable, not what you want, not here yet. And I know some of you will argue to the death that you've been doing everything right. I believe you that you've been doing your techniques. I absolutely believe you. But there is a double-mindedness happening. It's not because manifestation has been unfulfilled per se. You are always in some form of fulfillment of the identity that you wholeheartedly believe you are. Again, as I said earlier in the video, you can't be in the state of knowing that you're the self that will have the manifestation and still judge your 3D as unfavorable. They don't go together. That's not the reflection you would be perceiving from that self. I know that's frustrating. Basically, if you're not understanding that it's your identity, you're experiencing the reflection of your identity, think of it as in like law of attraction talk, vibrating. You're vibrating at a self or at a level of not having the desire, because that's what you think reality is. That's what you believe reality is. Infinity, God, universe, does not say no. It is always saying yes. But the selves we are, we think we know better sometimes. We think our way of how things should unfold or what things should look like. We get in our own way without meaning to. But ask yourself, really, whatever it is you're manifesting, do you still have any beliefs that are no to it? Maybe you're manifesting a loving, fulfilling, committed relationship. But in the back of your mind, you're telling yourself, oh, but what if it comes? Then I'm going to be afraid I'm going to lose it. Why would that be a truth for you? Why would that be a fear to you? Unless there's a belief somewhere. An example of a belief could be, you can't always get what you want, or nothing good lasts too long, or relationships just don't last. Love doesn't last. So isn't it a great thing that you don't perceive your relationship here right now while you're still walking around identifying with that belief? See, we don't have to get mad and frustrated and hurt that it's not physically sitting here with you right now in this moment. All we have to do is put the focus on who you want to be. Put the focus on the reality you want to be in. And when thoughts and fears come in, place the focus on knowing that the identity or the reality that you're choosing for yourself, that you're putting your focus on, that person doesn't have that fear. That person doesn't have the limits that your old self does, that you might still be authentically identifying as. In other words, the only reason why you're not experiencing the physical, actual manifestation is because of a limited view, a limited perception, a limited perspective. And for some of you, it'll be like a half-conscious thing going on there. See, what you in this moment, what you see your reality as in this moment, that is the answer to why you might not be experiencing it. And again, this is not for the people that are already seeing their reality as the perfect unfolding, knowing you're already in the reality of having the experience you're manifesting. So this isn't you. This is for the people that perceive reality as unfavorable, not working, not here yet. Some of us might still be walking around with the fear of they're afraid to put their full selves in this, to give their whole attention to this, out of fear of being disappointed. Well, there we go. We still got to believe somewhere. You're still identifying. You're still seeing it as possible more pain, possible disappointment. That's still a part of the identity you're walking around being. It's always about who we're believing we are. Always. No exceptions. This isn't something to panic over. This is a moment for you to realize I can stop focusing on what I feel is not here yet. I can stop focusing on a 3D that I'm not loving or a reality that I'm not loving or choosing. And instead, I can put my focus over here. I can put the focus on the reality I want to be in, the who I want to be, the who I'm choosing. And for some of you, if you're brand new to this, it might be hard for you to accept that you can actually experience all your dreams and desires. It might be hard for you to accept that. But with practice, with daily practice of this, of focusing on the who you want to be, the life you dream of, it's going to become easier and easier. You're going to see reality reflect. You're going to see bits and pieces of evidence flow in that it's really you doing this. So this is not something that beginners can't be doing for themselves. It's so easy to slip into our old patterns of habit, our old patterns of thinking, the limited viewpoints. It's so easy. And think about it. We see comment all the time that we can see right through the comments of where someone is, what they're really believing in, where their faith is, where their trust is. You are pure, unadulterated consciousness, complete and utter unconditional love, source energy, whatever you want to call it, God, universe. You are that. And you have been aware of being a less than amazing version of yourself and a reality that you're not enjoying, but without you noticing the reality you're not enjoying, how else would you be able to desire or know what that desire is you want? To source, to God, to universe, there is no good and bad. There is no positive and negative. It is all one. We are all one. We are conditioned to look out to 3D reality, look at circumstance, judge them, whether they're good or bad, and move on from there and believe that life just happens to us, that we have no control. That is a condition. And there are conditions upon conditions upon conditions of what you're manifesting, whether it be money, love, health, layers upon layers upon layers. If it feels too resistive to even take an authentic look of who you're really being, of who you're really identifying as, because maybe the fears are a lot louder, well, there you go. There you go. You couldn't possibly be allowing yourself to shift to the new self. You are someone that repetition is going to help. Repetition will be your best friend. Not to mention, we can always ask for help from our inner self, our higher self, source, God, universe, and answers will come. Asking for help from our higher self, it is always answered, always. Some of you might be viewing reality as not fully changing, not here yet, being frustrated. And maybe on top of that, you're also adding on, I don't want this to happen, and I don't want that to happen. I want this to come. I want this to unfold. But I don't want this one to happen or that one to happen because I'm afraid. You're afraid because you're putting a condition on your own manifestation and you are limiting it. You are not letting infinite God, universe, infinite unconditional love, pure unadulterated consciousness bring your manifestation to you through the path of least resistance, which is going to happen whether you stand in your rigidity self or not. And what I mean by that is you aren't going to determine how it unfolds by putting, now hear me out, by putting the focus on all the things you don't want to happen. All you're doing is having a really higher percentage of those things actually happening. We all want to micromanage, but we want to micromanage because we think we know better. That we're smarter than God, universe, source. And you're forgetting that that is what is within you. So you can trust what's unfolding. You can trust what you're experiencing. You can trust now because of that connection to source. You can trust right now that even the most negative circumstance maybe you're experiencing right now in this moment must lead you to your outcome. Instead of judging and assuming that it just possibly can't. Again, some of us are putting way too much importance of certain things. These can't happen. That can't happen. If that happens, I won't be able to get the manifestation, or I think it's going to take longer. Be authentic to yourself. What are you really believing about what you're manifesting? Who do you authentically, who do you really believe you are? Who is your real identity? Instant manifestation happens all the time. Do you ever notice that someone seems to be new in the community? They start applying and they come back rather quick that it worked. It only took such and such time or whatnot. For some of those people, it's because they went into absolute pure flow. They stopped fighting 3D. They stopped labeling it, conditioning it. Can you say you're honestly doing that? Can you say that you're actually choosing for yourself? Sincerely putting the focus on the identity that you want to be, the life you want? Can you honestly say that that's where your focus is? That's where your trust and belief is right now in this moment? Or would you say, I am, yeah, but this reason, but that reason. None of this is because you're a bad manifester. But your awareness is on what's not here, what you don't want, what you don't like. And that's been your instant manifestation experience. Pull the awareness on what we don't want, put the awareness on what we do, and you will change. And therefore, reality must change because you are reality. You are reality. Really think about that. You are reality. What are you perceiving right now? What's your perception? Let me know in the comments below. So on that note, I'll see you tomorrow.